This is Scott the Fix-It Guy. Today we have a Kitchenaid Supra range that is not responding when you press the buttons, and there's very little to no readout. So here's the model number for the one we're working on, and we may need to put in a new controller because the buttons don't respond. Before you do that though, it may be worthwhile to clean the little ribbon cables with an eraser. Sometimes that'll do the trick. If not though, you can get a remanufactured controller for not that much that'll solve the problem. But as we can see, pressing the buttons doesn't do anything. No sound, no lights, and if there's any kind of display, it's pretty dim. So first thing is we'll pull it away from the wall and unplug it, or we can turn off the breaker. You do need to get the stove pushed out away from the cabinet a little bit to get to some of these screws. There's 3 screws underneath. You just open the oven door to get to these 3. And there's 2 on the sides, and that's going to allow you to get right to the controller. So in this model, it's really easy to get to it to do the repair. There's a silver one on the side that you pull out also. And one on the other side too, another silver one. So we can zip out that one, and then we can just lift the controller up. We also removed all the knobs. We just pulled the knobs off of their stems. We can get the controller pulled up and out, and then we can kind of look at the contacts, make sure they're all really secure. So we're going to lift up on all the electrical contacts that we have and then reseat them, make sure they're in there really solid. And to clean the ribbon cables, you can get some ribbon cable cleaner, electrical cleaner, or you can just use an eraser, works pretty good. When you use an eraser to clean the ribbon cable, you want to go in the direction of the cable. You don't want to go across, but you want to go up and down instead of side to side. And you want to just keep using the eraser until the ribbon is kind of shiny and all the oxidation's gone. So to get to the ribbon cable, we have to lift up on a little plastic piece here. And once you lift up on the plastic piece, then you can pull the cable out. So sometimes you got to use your fingernail, or you can use like a small standard head screwdriver. And then you pry up on that with the standard head screwdriver, and then I'll pull the ribbon cable out. And you can see that some of these contacts are clean and some are pretty oxidized. This is probably why we're getting this condition. So you can take your eraser and just go up and down until they're clean, and then you can flip it over and do the same on the back side. Although I think it's mainly on the front side where you need to do it. And there are also ribbon cable cleaners that work really well too. So I usually just use a pencil eraser. Again, don't go side to side though, because it can actually damage the ribbon cable. Just go up and down. It's just using a little Ticonderoga pencil. And then you can go ahead and put it back in and see if it's changed, see if there's anything working better. On this one, we got all of our contacts back, but the display was really dim. So we ordered up this new one, which is actually a remanufactured one. About $166.25. Here's the part number, and then when it came in the mail, we easily installed it. We just took out the old electrical connectors and put them on the new one. The board's being held in by 2 small Phillips head screws. We just made sure they were really seated securely. But the interesting thing was, again, the buttons did start working just by cleaning those ribbon contacts with an eraser. But the display was so hard to see that it was time for another board. So hopefully yours, you can just correct it by cleaning the ribbon cable. Once you get everything in position, again, make sure it's in there really solid, all the contacts are in tight, and then you can give it a try. When you first start it, you may get an error code that pops up, and that just means that you have to go through a little reset procedure, because the new board is just requiring this reset procedure to get it started. And I'll show you what the code looks like. If you get this certain code pops up on the display, as we can see here, then just go through this little procedure coming up. Basically power it off by unplugging it, wait 5 seconds, plug it back in, wait 5 seconds, and then you press these buttons. And that should do the trick. That should reset it and give you control back over the range again. That worked really well for this one. We got plugged it back in, we got the buttons working again, got a nice bright display, and hopefully we'll get a lot more years out. This happened at about the 12-year mark that the buttons just stopped operating because they were so, ribbon cable was so oxidized. So I hope this gets yours going too. And the boards you can't buy new anymore, but you can buy them remanufactured, or you can send your board out to certain companies and they'll rebuild it for you for about $150. Just make sure when you're putting everything back that you get all the electrical connections really snug. There is this jumper one here too, over by my right finger, that you have to make sure you put back in. And these are all in tight, so we just put it back into position, added the screws back, plugged it back in, and after doing the reset code, we were back in business. There we go, nice bright display. So thanks so much for watching, and please subscribe to our channel when you get a chance. Thanks a lot.